Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. All right, we are now 2 weeks and a day away from potentially the end of the country. Before I start, I want to, whoever sent me this t-shirt, thank you. This is really cool. It says Hurricane Helene Relief on the back of it. It's kind of cool. It just came in the mail on Saturday, and that was it. So no card, no nothing. Don't know, but thank you. So yesterday was kind of a fun day, I guess, if you will. And it tells us very blatantly how we are being smokescreened. You couldn't miss it yesterday. It was all over the news. It was all over YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Trump was frying French fries at McDonald's, and Trump was working the drive-thru at McDonald's. Now, the Democrats, of course, came out and said, oh, well, this was totally staged. Here's a sign that says the store was closed while the president was in there. Yeah, it was a campaign stop, okay? It was a masterclass in trolling. But, you know, of course, they're not going to leave the store open so that 1,000 people can pack inside the store, you know, security reasons. You know, Secret Service had to be all over the place. But, you know, you can just imagine the clearance, the background checks that had to be done on the employees that were actually in there to train Trump on the fry cooker, or the people that were coming through the drive-thru. It was a photo op. That was it. It was fun. That was the thing, you know, and to say, gee, you know, this wasn't a real McDonald's normal business. No kidding. He's, you know, a former president and the future president of the United States. But this was what the media and social media and everybody talked about yesterday. And it was fun, okay? It was a lighthearted poke at himself, poke at Kamala Harris in an election, showing Trump is a normal guy. Sure, he's a billionaire, but he's, you know, willing to go out and hang out with all of those of us who work for a living, you know, something that Kamala Harris has never done in her life. You know, I mean, if she hasn't collected a government paycheck, she hasn't ever earned a penny. But the funny part is, while we were all having fun there, the world was still going on. And we're not being told about this. Now, you ask any politician, most of them whom are idiots, you know, you go back a few years ago and Mitt Romney said, the Russians are the biggest threat to the United States. Kamala Harris, in her interview last week, said Iran was the biggest threat to the United States. Both of whom are, of course, wrong. The biggest threat to the United States by far, I mean, it ain't even close, is China. And China did something over the weekend that we should be aware of. Xi Jinping told his troops to boost their war preparedness. They increased their war budget to 7.2% of GDP. I want to give you this for just example. China's got the second largest GDP in the world, guys. We're first. Okay. 7.2%. Go look at what we spend on our war preparedness. Ain't anywhere close. Barely half. Take a look at what Europe spends. We can't get Europe to spend 2% of their GDP on NATO to protect themselves, right? But Xi Jinping is out increasing their war budget to 7.2. October surprise? I don't know. We got 2 weeks. What do you think the chances are that Xi Jinping might go into Taiwan? Certainly, maybe before the election, but very possibly before the inauguration. Because then we have the initial response done by the potato in chief and the cackling hen, who don't know which end of a rifle a bullet comes out of. Okay. You start thinking about what this could mean to the United States. And I know there's a whole bunch of war hawks on the Democrat side that are like, cool, let's go to war. We can ramp up the military-industrial complex, and Nancy Pelosi can go buy Raytheon and Lockheed Martin stock and make herself a couple more $1 million real quick, as soon as they put a vote through for that. But I want you to think about this a little closer to home. Sure, the effects of going to Taiwan, China going into Taiwan. Are we going to defend Taiwan? Yeah, we've been sending them munitions. We've been covertly putting troops on the island. Okay. Obviously, the Pacific Fleet is nearby, watching what's going on. Last week, China did a huge military drill, and ironically, they took their navy and surrounded the island with a flotilla. Why would they do something like that? Well, remember, China still considers Taiwan part of China. Taiwan considers themselves independent. The U.S., for 4 or 5 decades now, has officially acknowledged the one China policy, but unofficially recognizes Taiwan as an independent nation. But I want you to think about what happens if there's a war with China. Not in the United States, not in Europe or anything like that, just over Taiwan, okay? And all of a sudden, we're butting heads with China. Well, could that mean we send troops, we do any sort of more troops, we do any sort of draft? I mean, a lot of that would probably be naval troops, maybe Marines, possibly Air Force. Not a whole lot of ground battle, you'd think, but the Army would be involved. What would that do to our economy? All of a sudden, China's like, you know what? The U.S. is fighting against us. Maybe we won't be sending them the medicine, the 80% of our medicines, your prescriptions that come in the United States, come through China. Taiwan, semiconductors. Where's, I don't know, iPhones made? China. Maybe we won't be getting any of those anymore. No more laptops, no more computers, no more cell phones, no more nothing in the way of technology. Maybe we could look at our electrical grid. Talked to you guys about this in the past. No more transformers. No more replacement parts for any of the grid that's weak, breaks down constantly. A couple of hurricanes, might need a few parts. Maybe we don't get those. How about manufacturing? How about basically everything that's in a Walmart or a Home Depot or a Walgreens? We don't make anything here anymore. China could go into Taiwan and decide we're taking over militarily, and the U.S. has to decide whether or not they are going to defend Taiwan or destroy the United States. How ready are you for that? Is everything you have that you consume, that you need to buy, do you already have it? Okay. Radios, generators. Take a look at any generator that I ever show you. Where's it made? China. Okay. Take a look at basically anything that's made of plastic, which is pretty much everything. Where's it made? China. Okay. Go look at most of your clothing and see where it's made. China. What if that all gets cut off? Xi Jinping has told his country to boost their war preparedness, telling the troops to enhance their strategic deterrent and combat capability. What do you think the reason is? Well, we're so concerned with drag queens in the Navy. China's worried about training their troops in combat skills. What happens if that bleeds over, that the U.S. does get involved, and and China decides, hey, you know what? The west coast of the United States is pretty damn weak. What are they going to do if we land in San Francisco? Throw feces at us? Right? We're in trouble. China is getting battle ready. The Russians are battle ready. The North Koreans are helping Russia. You don't think the North Koreans would be helping China too? I mean, the North Koreans have troops on the ground in Ukraine on the Russian side, just saying. Iran has said they have weapons, take it however you want, that are more powerful than nuclear weapons. What the hell that is, I have no idea, okay? But they've got it. Israel is talking about the potential use of nuclear weapons. Volodymyr Zelensky has said either we get in NATO or we're going to consider acquiring nuclear weapons. Where do you think Ukraine's going to get them? Maybe Joe wants to give them to them. I don't know. They'll get them somewhere, the black market. That's a possibility. People don't realize what a precarious position we find ourselves in right now. We're all worried about the election, watching Donald Trump at McDonald's, listening to Kamala Harris give another inebriated speech. You know, hey, Lizzo, make America like Detroit. Yeah, okay. And all this is going on around because Joe's foreign policy, Kamala Harris's foreign policy. Kamala Harris doesn't know squat about foreign policy. She's lucky she can find China on a map. You know, you're talking, what, the second or third largest landmass in the world. She ain't smart enough to figure it out. This is what we need to be ready for. How many times we've all said, prepare to live your life like you could never leave your property again. If we go to war with China, that's practically what's going on. You aren't going to be able to get anything. You aren't going to be able to go anywhere. You need a car part to fix, your brakes went bad, you lost a serpentine belt in the car. Guess where those are made? China. Okay. You're not getting a replacement part. You're done. You're stuck. The world is teetering on the edge. The next 2 weeks are what everybody's focusing on. And we still have, 10 weeks till the inauguration? Okay. A lot can happen in the next 3 months. Make sure you are ready for whatever could possibly come. Double check, triple check, do your inventory. Make sure you've got the food, the batteries, the spare parts, the radios, the ammunition, the weaponry, the power, the water, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because the last thing anybody wants to do in the next 3 months is say, I told you so. Pinball out.